obviously we've got Richard Bland, European Tour golfer, Tim Blakeley, personal trainer to the Stars, and well, you've got a bit of a rugby background, and also you used to play for the Forces, didn't you, in rugby?
Yeah.
And the field gun, if those people can remember the field gun, which was pretty awesome. Sean Ervine, former cricketer, Zimbabwe international, Hampshire turned pro golfer. Matt Tissier, known as Lay God, former Premier League footballer of some note, and Scott Quinnell, former Wales rugby international, and also British Lions as well. So all round, we've got, this is the EXV team, and we'll be getting to know everybody as we go along with more. But I'm going to fire out some questions that have been sent in.
Can I just say something quick?
Yeah.
Not the best name for me because I'm dyslexic. So I tried to find it on Twitter the other day. It took me 20 minutes.
Oh, EXV.
I keep on mixing that up as well.
Oh, you with? I'm with
VX.
VXE, XEV, just find it yourself.
I'll have to think about that then. I'm not sure what we can do about that.
But then I found out you're on favourites. It's all right.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, if Sean's the baby, right? It was the only one who couldn't use the technology. That's fine.
That's very true.
Well, he's originally from Zimbabwe, and bless him, because of his upbringing, which sounds absolutely fantastic, I have to say, running wild on a farm. I was a bit embarrassed when I'd mentioned Lauren Hardy, and he wasn't sure who they were. So he spent most of his time in the bush rather than watching telly, which is
well,
very naive.
If you look at Matt and me, that's basically Laurel and Hardy.
I mean, Tim, thinking of obviously your work with clients, you know, that's difficult, and in as much you need that physical contact as well, don't you? But you've got, I know you've got obviously Zoom abilities, but it's not the same, is it?
No, I mean, all productions are shut at the moment. Pinewood's shut, all the studios are shut. Obviously, nothing's going in and out of the States. Netflix have shut down everything, so we're all just on a standby situation at the moment.
Sure. Create a program for you guys. What's that? Oh, is that the massage thing?
Oh my God!
Have you got a license?
I don't have to wear slip-ons anymore. I can now do my own laces.
A torture device.
What is that?
It's a massager. Oh.
Did you get that from Ann Summers?
Mate, you'll love it.
It has various uses. That's all I'm saying. It's very, very good.
Where,
I tell you.
what part of the body do you use that on?
Go into the better, I think.
My IT bands, I used to have them stripped out every day, and now I can do it. I can actually touch my toes now. It's brilliant.
Really?
I still can't get into my pocket to buy a drink, but I can. Just one question: will they understand me?
Well, I've seen that new program you've been doing, the trailers where you're learning Welsh. So
I'll be sure to come right now. They do about Beth Men Wade and American. Yeah. See, I can say anything on you now. It's absolutely brilliant. My clock's broken. I got to change the time for continuity. Hang on a minute.
What the hell was that he was talking about?
My clock's broken, so I got to change the time every now and again. Just to make people look in.
Just leave it, and then it'll be right twice a day.
Well, it'd be right twice a day now anyway. It'd be fine.
I wanted to ask you a question, Scott, because I know, I'll be honest, I never played rugby as a kid, so I never kind of got into that sport. But I've always been fascinated by people who change codes, and I've always wondered how much of a difference there is between the two codes of rugby. Because to me, rugby is just rugby, and it just looks all the same, isn't it?
Oh, it's totally different. Playing rugby union is I suppose it's a bit like going over to football to play rugby league. Apart from you can't obviously handle the ball, but it's people always say to me, Scott, you know, which one do you prefer? And I always tell them it's like telling you who the favourite child is. You know, because I love them. But you've got one, you just don't tell them. You know, it's one. It totally fit different fitness. Rugby union is more cardiovascular, where you run around, and rugby league is more anaerobic because you go back 10 yards and you go forward 10 yards, back 10 yards, forward 10 yards, and you stay on one side of the field. You take the ball. It's a little bit like, you know, when I used to go up to the park to play with my brother when I was a kid, and he used to throw a ball up in the air, and he used to say to him, "You run at me, I tackle you. I'll run at you, you tackle me." And that's rugby league. Ball in play, right? Ball in play, when I went in 94 to rugby league, in rugby union, was 19 minutes. When I got to rugby league, it was 63 minutes.
Wow.
So it was like playing 3 games every time you put your boots on. So totally different games, different cardiovascular system. And but the problem is, right, you get up on a Sunday morning, if you played on a Saturday, and you ate the same, you just get the different ways.
Do you remember when the codes played each other?
Yeah, I played in those.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because at the time then, Union was still amateur then, was it?
Well, it just
turned professional.
Yeah, 96. So I turned professional 95, and Wigan played back in 96.
Yeah, that was really cool. But I remember them saying at the time that they thought that basically the league were better conditioned. They were had a better level of fitness than Union. Would you say that has now changed?
Again, I just think it's a different fitness. Because when I came back, I remember playing in Coventry when I came back, and my father and Tony Gray, his mate, we coached Wales together. They both came to watch me play in Coventry, and I literally didn't run around with the ball. I just waited for the ball to come to me, and my dad said, "Stop, back in rugby union now. You've got to run after the ball." I thought, shit, yeah, I have. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
I think you would have played rugby league then, Matt, wouldn't you? Less running around.
Well, yeah, but it was less running over the park, but more up and down. It's funny because I played rugby league, and the first 6 weeks I got there, because I played for Wales and I played for Blakeley, we used to go forward. And in rugby union, you always run forward. It doesn't matter where you are in the pitch, you're always running forward. Even if you're always running forward. In rugby league, you had to run back. And because you had to go back 10 yards, and after 6 weeks, I spent the first 6 weeks basically in the bath. Because my calves were like that, my hamstrings were like that, and I couldn't walk, and it was killing me. And after 6 weeks, somebody said to me, "Scott, why don't you run backwards forward?" I said, "What do you want about?" They said, "Well, run backwards forward." They said, "Keep your head on the ball, turn your shoulders, run forward, get back to 10, turn your shoulder, and run forward." So why the hell didn't you tell me that 6 weeks ago? It'd have been a lot easier. So it's very simple. The ball's the same, but the cardiovascular system and the game are totally different. I used to play football when I was a kid, but I used to get red cards all the time because my tackling technique was, well, it was suspect. Let's say it was suspect.
What you said is Franny Benali should have been a rugby player.
No, I tell you what an open side he'd have been. He'd have been everywhere. He'd been nibbling everybody's ankles.
It's amazing how sport specific different things are, though, isn't it? I mean, you mentioned your calves. You know, you wouldn't think that, but you know, such small nuances can make a massive difference.
Oh, huge. And it's the same with golf, isn't it? You know, you have a golf because I'm right-handed. It's amazing. Did you see the thing the other day with all the golfers? They have to hit the ball left-handed, and a lot of them are very, very good. You know what I mean? Taylor May put a thing out, and they were just incredible. Now, if I pick a golf club up, I'm not bad right-handed, but if I pick a golf club up left-handed, I can't even hit the ball.
No, I can't. I don't think I'd break 200 left-handed.
No, I break 200 club.
I'd still play Matt for a tenner, but...
I'll play against you being left. I'll take you on left-handed.
Honestly, I'm worse than a beginner left-handed. Worse than a beginner.
Yeah, that's true. There's a bit of content right there.
To be fair, he's not that good right-handed.
Well, that is true.
I suppose that's the point where I could mention that blistering round we played together, Rich, when we actually...
Oh, yeah. What was that? I can't remember.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Was it 7 and 6, I think, wasn't it? Or something like that?
Yeah, we took it easy on them, really.
How often do those blue moons occur?
Quite often, actually.
I've never seen you shoot a back nine like that too often.
What was it? I shot 29. Is it 29?
It was 10 under for the back nine.
10 under for the back nine.
Yeah, he was
And that was
two
it,
over.
Didn't I play with you, Matt, like 2 days later? And I think I shot 27 for the front nine.
Yeah, I remember you saying, actually, it wasn't with me, but I remember you texting me and going, I've just played.
It was like my last 18
those
holes,
consecutive
like 57 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I made a bogey as well. I think I made a bogey somewhere as well.
Hang on, I always text my mates to tell them I shot 29. Doesn't mean I did it. I text my mates once and said I benched 250k, but I didn't do it. They still believe me.
He worked with us as a strength and conditioning coach on Harry's Heroes.
Oh, you know, I watched.
Hang on,
his
you
work
had a
cut out,
strength
didn't
and conditioning coach on Harry's Heroes.
Yeah, he didn't turn up.
He had his work cut out on Razor Rudder, didn't he?
Razor didn't get the memo.
I had to watch through my hands. I thought you were going to die, especially the strongman trainer. I didn't think that was the best idea. But...
No, that was ridiculous. That.
Yeah. Let's see how many people we can break before we start. Yeah, that was scary.
It was, yeah.
It was the hamstrings. I was worried about everyone's hamstrings. That's what I was worried about.
No,
Did you get an injury in that, Matt? I think you were all right, weren't you?
I did. I was all right in that. We filmed the second series now, which goes out next month.
How many guys were actually playing in the end game? Though it wasn't many, was it? They were dropping like flies.
We had quite a few.
There was a few ringers in there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we had a few. Yeah, there was. I think Ray Parler, Lee Sharp. Funny enough, it was all the lads that had actually been the fittest through the training, and they were the ones
got injured.
Yeah, they were the ones that could go the furthest in the bleep test were the ones that picked up injuries.
Did any of you guys start pre-training before that production started, Matt? What was the deal with that? Obviously, Razor didn't, but
I think a few of the boys did little bits and pieces.
Did you?
I started probably about a week before I started going out and doing a little bit of just some gentle jogs, just trying to get
keep it uppies.
You keep it uppies, yeah. Yeah, not a huge amount, to be honest. We had to be fair, we had 12 weeks of filming before the game, whereas this series that we've just done, we didn't have that much time.
Well, Harry's been making Jambroni polies. He hasn't got the time now, has he?
Okay, so this is from Steve Grimwood. This is how many old putters, drivers, clubs do you have in the garage loft? Let's just do a quick fire through these. If you've got a rough idea.
Well, Matt's probably got most of mine.
Not anymore, mate. They've been on eBay.
Signed.
I don't have a lot of spare clubs.
I don't actually, to be honest. I give stuff away to mates and what have you. You know, I don't know how many dozen balls I've offloaded on Matt over the last 20 odd years.
I've had some very nice drivers down the years, I can tell you that.
Just thinking with the cricket, Sean, have you found things that?
Is Sean on this call? Sorry, I've never.
Is there any way of
wallpapering for the last hour?
Earphones. Can't hear anyone. No, you know what's quite interesting with cricket, obviously with this lockdown and all that and the COVID, is obviously everyone shines the ball. So I think it's going to be the last sport that actually.
Oh yeah, going. Sure.
Can you not shine it with a different disinfectant wipe?
You probably could.
You can inject disinfectant.
You can't use sandpaper, no?
No, sandpaper.
Only in Australia you can.
Only in Australia.
Yeah. Tell you what though, this self-isolation is helping cricketers because everybody is just staying home and polishing their balls. There's nothing else to do.
I'm polishing my Titleist as well.
But no, it could be interesting. Obviously, a lot of my cricket mates, you can tell they're very bored, and we don't know. Obviously, like Landy says, no one knows what's going on really, and when it's gonna get going. But there's a few updates from the ECB and all that, but it affects everyone, doesn't it?
Mm. Yeah. I was just thinking in terms of training and things like that. I know you've obviously now retired from cricket, as in full time, but have you found things that you are trying to do that are kind of replicating a little bit of that cricket environment? I know you're obviously focusing on golf now, but have you found that a difficult transition?
Yes and no. I can tell you one thing: when you haven't bowled for a while, and then suddenly you have to go and bowl, whether you're playing village cricket or first class cricket or international cricket, your body aches exactly the same as if you haven't picked up a club for a while.
Right.
And you think it's exactly the same, using different muscles. Tim will probably be able to tell you, but a lot of it's, if you're a fast bowler, the training schedule and your setup is all different to if you're just a batsman, and vice versa. If you're a wicket keeper and all that, you're doing a lot more leg stuff. If you're a bowler, you're doing leg stuff and upper body. If you're a batsman, you're trying to get stronger, obviously upper body. So it all changes. But the transition from golf, I'm quite lucky in the sense that obviously I play cricket left-handed, but hit a golf ball right-handed, and that doesn't affect my swing as much because it's completely different. Whereas if I was to hit a golf ball left-handed and I was batting left-handed, then you'd see it, as you would do with most cricketers, you see it sort of disappearing over extra cover, which it still does every now and then. But yeah, I mean, go on, Matt.
How did that happen with the batting left-handed? Which sport did you take up first?
Cricket. So
when you picked up a golf club, you didn't think I'll stand the same way as I do to a cricket ball?
No, I think obviously Dad just chucked the bat on the floor when I was probably about 5 or 6, and just to sort of pick it up, and I just picked it up, sort of with left-hand setup. So you just sort of stuck with that. The golf side of things, obviously, with all the education in Zim, boarding school was compulsory to play all sports, but golf wasn't one of them. But hockey was one, which is obviously all right-handed. So when it came to golf, that sort of just helped a little bit. But I only started playing golf really when I moved to Hampshire, because all the other lads, Warney and Dimmy and all them, they all disappeared on a day off, and I was like, where are you guys gone? And I wanted to sort of jump on that bandwagon, so and be a part of it. So that's when I started sort of trying to play golf.
I think you find a lot of left-handed golfers are naturally right-handed.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, that's quite interesting as well.
You do. I know a few left-handers who are sort of, you watch them write something down. It's right-handed.
A mate of mine played right-handed golf, and he got down to scratch and played off scratch for years, and got bored, and then decided to play left-handed, and got down to 2 within 6 months.
Yeah.
They say Phil Mickelson, because he swung it left-handed because he just watched his dad swing it right-handed from face on. So he just copied his dad from face on.
Okay.
So the only way he could then swing was left-handed, because if he swung right-handed, he'd have to turn his back to it. So he just mirrored his dad. He just watched his dad swing a golf club, but then just swung it the opposite way, so he could actually still watch his dad. So and that's it. That's why he was left-handed player. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I've heard. But don't quote me. Don't put that on.
So
I'm telling everybody. Rich said.
In writing.
I don't believe this. Rich said.
I was just thinking about Tim there with the body, when they recommend, like, say for example, if you turn a particular way all the time, the advice I've heard is that you should always try and turn the opposite way to try and even things up. I mean, is there a sort of scientific evidence to say actually if you're a right-handed golfer, it's always pretty good to swing it left-handed as well to try and even things up, even if it's just in training and practice?
Well, even if it's not training side, you don't want to create imbalances, because imbalances cause injuries. But I don't think you need to specifically swing the other way, but you just want to make sure if you're doing strength and conditioning in the gym that you're training both sides. So I think that would counter that. I was going to ask Sean, would you write? What hand do you write with? Right, left?
Right hand.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is, usually our brain is one side dominant. So if like Richard was saying, you know, someone copied their dad just visually, it wouldn't necessarily be genetically the best side for him to use if he's more right side dominant in his brain than his left side. But then, you know, there are some ambidextrous people out there, so it's quite interesting. But
the only thing you could say about left-handers, right? Have you ever tried to use a left-handed scissors?
Well, yes. Yeah.
It's not easy. I feel sorry for it. It's not easy.
If you'd have said 25 years ago, and Jim Furyk came and you watched him on a range, and you didn't know who he was, and someone said, right, in 25 years he's going to be like top 5 all-time money winners on the USPGA Tour, they'd put you in a straitjacket. Yeah, he looks like he should be in a straitjacket. You know, it looks. Yeah, he can swing it in a telephone box, and so I think that's the thing with golf. There's no, and I think that's what it kind of. I think it appeals to so many people is there's no set way of doing it. There's no. Yes, we all.
He was very funny with your brother in Sawgrass, Rich.
Who, Jim?
Yeah. Did you ever
I didn't know this. Go on.
So we were over at Sawgrass for the Pro-Am, the Pro-Am with John Allison Hooper, and he was on the range at Sawgrass when we were there, and your brother was like, I'm going to get his autograph. And your brother walked over with a cap, I think, for him to sign, and he went, oh, excuse me, Jim, would you mind signing this cap? Jim looked at him and he went, fuck off. And his face, he said, my face must have just gone like that. And then like 2 seconds later, Jim went, only kidding, give it here.
apparently he has got, what my coach, Tim Bartas, tells me, obviously Tim does a lot of work with Sky. And I would speak to Jim an awful lot, especially in the last couple of years as he was Ryder Cup captain a couple of years ago. And he says he's one of the funniest guys out there. You know, he really, you know, he's a really good guy to be around. And you know, if you're kind of out to dinner with him and that kind of thing, he can keep the conversation going, you know, pretty well.
Yeah, it's quite funny. To have the balls to say that to a complete stranger, even for just a couple of seconds, I'm not sure I could do it.
That's classic.
There we are. There's your challenge.
That's my challenge.
Next person asks you for an autograph.
You've
got to tell them to fuck off.
I'll get it filmed, and we'll.
I think you might
go viral.
You might have told a few on a few nights out when they've been bothering you.
Well, yeah, maybe. I'd never be that rude though.
What about you, Sean? You got a collection of clubs?
I've got a spare set of clubs and probably 2 sets of spare wedges. That's it. Maybe a couple, 2 or 3 putters, but that's it. Yeah.
Okay, Scott, you've got a average collection, would you say, or are you just sticking with one?
2 sets of clubs and 1 putter.
Okay.
So I got So when one aren't working, because of course it's the club's fault, I use the other set until they don't work, and then I use the other set again. So it's always the clubs. It's never the piece of shit on the other end of them.
Yeah, there's one for Tim specifically, I guess, here. With limited time to exercise, what is the best type of exercise to focus on that gives the highest returns for a typical weekend golfer, i.e. cardio, strength or mobility?
Oh, it's all. That's the problem. But you don't have to spend too much time on each. But I would say it's all those 3. You've just got to combine them. So if you don't have a lot of time, I would combine all of those into a short amount of time. Obviously, the problem with cardio is you need a little bit of time, but then you can build that into your day by doing more walking and less driving, I guess. Because, you know, basically you're walking around a golf course, aren't you? So you could replicate that walking around anywhere.
I think also, Tim, it would probably be an age group kind of thing, wouldn't it? I think probably the older the person, probably more you'd probably go towards mobility, flexibility, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're limited for time, but you know, I think really the average golfer, sort of 45 plus, just isn't fit enough to get around the course without that fitness impairing on their game, you know, to the latter holes. I think that's the big thing. People don't realise as well. They don't realise they're getting tired as they go around the course, and it's got to affect your game. So, you know, like
I think a lot to do with that as well. I think what people, like you say, they think they might be, even if they can get round and they don't feel that tired. It's also it's probably nutrition on the course as well, isn't it? That people don't drink any water, they don't take any hydration. I'm not saying you've got to take like protein bars or anything like that, but just a couple of bananas, one every 6 or 7 holes, that kind of thing. They probably think it wouldn't make any difference, but it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you reckon it'd be a good thing for us to work out a program that we could put out to the audience? The guys can work on something that is pretty simple that fits certainly the amateurs. So
yeah, definitely.
We can put that out.
Sorry, I think you've got to get good enough that you don't carry your own bag.
Well, the thing is, like when we come back playing, we might have to, because you're going to have to social distance from your caddy.
Then we'll see how good you lot are. Can you imagine? Down 18.
I think the next time you see a tournament, you might see Rory with a power caddy or something like that.
The old Stewart golf trolleys would go through the roof.
Well, last time I saw you use one of them, it ended up in the ditch going over the bridge on the 4th at Stoneham.
I think interesting, Pete. You could break it down into two halves. I mean, the problem is you're flooded with stuff on YouTube and everything else. I think there's 2 different sections. There's the sport-specific stuff where people are trying to, do wood chops on pulleys to try and get an extra 20 yards on their drive, or just a section of being fit enough to play golf without your fitness hampering your game.
Yeah,
I think they're the 2 different things. One's sport specific, you're trying to improve the power of your swing and your mobility and flexibility and all that sort of stuff. And the others is just being fit enough to play golf. And I think the vast majority of people would benefit a lot from just increasing their fitness levels so that it doesn't hamper their game.
Pete, I was doing wood chops in my training when I used to play, and I think the reason I had to finish is because I bought a chainsaw. It was a lot easier.
Unless he doesn't start. And then
I had one of them as well and got rid of that one.
Got repetitive strain on the shoulder.
Yeah. He then went to battery. He was all right.
Yeah, I know you got to go, Scott, haven't you? But actually, your clock hasn't changed, so you've still got plenty of time.
Yeah, you got loads of time.
Yeah.
Back, Scott. Put it back a bit. Put it back 10 minutes. You're golden.
So who would win?
That's continuity for you. Tim knows he's in the game.
Who would win a press-up competition in the Golf EXV team, and what are the numbers? Now,
genuinely, pick a box, any box. Who do you think is going to win the press-up competition?
Well, Scott benches £500. He said, so he should clearly.
Yeah, over the phone. Over the phone.
I'll put this as a starter. I've always been terrible at press-ups. I don't know why that is. I mean, if I did press-ups now, I could probably maximum about 15, and that would be absolute my maximum.
Yeah,
so I don't know what it is.
I'm the same.
Yeah?
I hate press-ups.
You never really, you know what I mean? It all comes from balance and coordination with the football and everything like that, doesn't it? You know what I mean? With us, it's all about handing people off and everything like that. And it's all, we used to do loads of press and push-ups and, everything like that. But a lot of body weight stuff when we were playing.
Well, the thing is, if you don't use it, you lose it. So.
Sorry, Tim?
Well, it's just about practicing the movement. That's it. As simple as that. There's no massive secret to it. If you don't do press-ups, you're not going to get good at it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're playing, then, Sean, when you're playing, what would have been your max on the press ups? How many would you be looking at?
Probably 28, 30, I reckon. They used to do tests where you had to go as far as you can. I think, you got some young nippers like a young guy, Lewis McManus, who's just an absolute machine, pocket rocket. He could probably do, close to 60, 70 one go. But it was, us guys, we were like sort of 28, 30.
So the thing is, the longer you live, the more you're going to struggle because, the short, stockier guys, biomechanically, they're only moving that far. The longer guys are moving that far. The range of motion is massively different. So, a lot of it's biomechanics and a lot of it's just strength as well.
About 5 years ago, I was in a pub And remember those days? Oh, it's amazing. And I was in a pub, and we'd had a few beers. We were on holiday, and these guys came over. And they challenged me how many press-ups you could do, and I managed to do 50. And
oh wow!
I got up. I felt really good about myself. Beat this youngster out, brilliant. And after the rest of the holiday, I couldn't move. What a waste of time that was! What a waste of holiday that was! I literally walked around like this for the next 4 days.
Do you lose bet?
I don't do it anymore.
Scotty,
So
did
50
you lose
reps,
bet?
good mate. You did well.
Well, yeah, but I had 10 pints.
Paid the price.
Just think, if you hadn't had 10 pints, you probably
You would have 10 pints
you were
lighter.
carrying.
I'd have done 4 because my brain would have gone, Quinnell, you're 43. What are you doing? When I did 10 pints, I thought, come on, you used to be a rugby player. You could do this. 250, and then and then walk around for 4 days like that.
What do you play off, Scott?
9 at the moment. For competition golf. Mind you, when I get out of here, I haven't picked up golf. I've probably played off about 18 again.
I think I'm with you. Has anyone been practicing at all? Had the opportunity to do so? And
Yeah, I have. Well, because I live in a flat, and there's no grass anywhere, so we've got like quite a thick hedge outside. So I've got like an old blanket that I throw over that, and I've got a mat in the car park. I just hit balls into that. And there's I think I showed because me and Matt, we had a Zoom chat the other night with another friend of ours, and I sent him a picture of what the hedge is looking like. So the guy that lives downstairs.
I'm a little bit concerned about that patch of hedge to the right of that main patch. What's been happening there? You had the shank.
Well, I'm kind of sort of shifting along. Yeah, it's the guy. I think the guy that sort of lives below me, the old guy, who kind of looks after all the sort of the shrubs and the plants. I don't think he's best pleased at the minute.
Hang on, then that must explain a lot. My next door neighbour must be into my bloody thing. Look, there's nothing left. There's nothing left of that fence. That explains that I'm going round to see him after.
So that's all I can do. I'm fortunate I've got like a launch monitor, so I can see how I can try and keep my sort of wedges pretty sharp distances wise, but it's just kind of like not being able to sort of play and like the ball speed's come down. I've lost a bit of ball speed. Right. I think just for the fact of just not playing, just not
old age mush.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I'm not really hitting any long shots. I've hit some 5-irons, because I just think when you practice and you hit drivers, your body's just working faster, and the golfing muscles, you're using more. And now because I haven't hit a driver for over 2 months, I think the speed has come down a little bit.
Sure.
Hang
on, Matt's dog is sniffing excuses. He's coming in. He can smell excuses.
But once you start playing, you get back out there and you have that adrenaline running through you. It'll come back. It's fine. So it's.
How quick do you think you'll get it back, Richard? You drive?
Oh, very quick. I think it's more. It's actually just the playing. I think it's going to be the lack of playing. Matt will.
Match sharpness,
and Scott and Sean will say, there's that, and I sort of say in golf, it's having just that match fitness, and that's not mean like a fitness level. It's just playing rounds. It's having a scorecard in your hand that, when you play, if I play against Matt or something like that. Okay, yes, you're trying to beat each other and what have you, but you're only playing for bragging rights. If you hit a poor shot, doesn't really matter that much, but in a golf tournament, yes, every shot does matter, and it's just getting back into that mentality of literally every shot counts, and it's your short, how sharp you're getting, the sharpness back of your short game is, that kind of thing. It's playing those field shots that right now I can't play.
I tell you the best thing to do, right? Can you have a word with all the authorities, right? The PGA and everybody. The first day of lockdown, the first day everybody's allowed to go play golf, all the professionals should have a competition that morning starting at 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
They should go out and have 10 pints the night before. They need to get up an hour before they tee off, get down there, have a cup of black coffee, a bacon roll, and tee off straight away and feel like what we do every Sunday morning.
Absolutely.
And see how well you all play blind then.
Trust me, when I was 22, 23 years old, I could do that. And I tell you the truth, I played a tournament. Oh Christ, Matt's played it loads of times. The Cornish Festival.
Oh,
and I think I just turned pro. I think it might have been about 1997. I went down there to play the first time. I just turned pro. I was just working in a shop at my local club in Southampton, and we played in Newquay. And the courses have changed now. It was Tahiti Park. I don't know if Matt's played that.
No.
We played Trevose and we played St Enedot. So it was only Tahiti.
I love Trevose.
So we went and played every course blind. And the young lads that I went down there with, we just went out in Newquay. When Newquay was a really sort of good town to go out in, we went out every single night, absolutely every night, on the piss like you can't believe. And I played Trevose on the second day, completely blind, and I stood on the 16th tee, and I was hung over to hell on the first tee. I mean, absolutely hung over to hell. And I stood on the 16th tee, needing 3 pars for 59.
And you shot 76.
Yeah. And I tell you, it was quite a funny story. I was leading the tournament, but I think by about 4 shots. I ended up shooting 61. Arse fell out of me and shot 61. And I was leading by 4, I think. And the lads that I went and played with went down there and go, well, what are we going to do now? And, you're leading. I said, look, nothing's changed. And we were playing St Enedot the next day, which is probably the worst golf course. It's probably the best golf course, but the hardest. And we said, oh, we're still going to go out. Don't worry about it. And we went out and got, again, absolutely annihilated. And I get back to the hotel, and this was before keys, your sort of credit card keys. So I had to get the key from reception. And I literally leaned on the reception bar and then just kind of slid off and landed on the floor. And all I remember is this guy stood over me, and I literally can't get up. And the guy's gone, isn't it this guy that's leading the tournament? And I ended up shooting 81 rounds and ended up and finished 3rd.